Our story begins in the countryside of a quiet, forgotten kingdom. A place tucked far from the noise of courts and caravans. Nestled beneath a mossy hill, beside the crumbling remains of an old abbey, is a little stone cottage. Its windows flicker gently with candlelight, not because the sun has set, but because this home only ever stirs when the moon is high. This is the home of Ida, the weaver, an older woman now, with kind eyes and calloused hands. She rises with the stars. She works when the world sleeps, and she speaks only to the wind, the trees, and the moon. Many villagers whisper about her in daylight, but never cruelly. They say her cloth holds strange warmth in winter, and dreams seem gentler beneath her quilts. But no one knows why. She weaves only by moonlight, only that she always has. Tonight, like every night, Etta lights a single beeswax candle. Its flame trembles softly, throwing golden shadows across wooden beams. Outside, the wind sighs through heather and birch, and a barn owl calls once, then falls silent again. Etta places a basket of soft, carded wool beside her spindle, and with a patient breath, she begins to spin. W-H R-R-R R-R-R-R dot dot. The ancient wheel turns beneath her hands. A gentle rhythm, like a lullaby. Not too fast, not too slow, like a heartbeat, like the pull of the tide. Did you know? In the 13th and 14th centuries, weavers like Ida were the keepers of stories. They didn't write books, they wove them. Tapestries told tales of knights and saints, of sunrises and harvests and constellations. Each thread carried memory, each dye had meaning, and Ida, she remembers them all. The moonlight spills in through the small round window, falling like silver lace across the floor. Etta hums under her breath, just a note or two, the tune her grandmother taught her when she, too, used to spin beneath the stars. The room smells of lavender and lanolin, of old wood, of wool warmed in hand. And there's the soft crackle of the hearth, its glow dancing on the walls like a dream half remembered. Etta's cat, Mirth, curls beside her in a basket lined with velvet scraps. His purr is low and steady like a warm drumbeat from the heart of the cottage itself. And outside, under a sky scattered with stars, the abbey bells do not ring, for they've long been silent. But if you listen closely, you might just hear a bell in your own mind. A soft, distant chime that marks the passing of time in a world where time no longer matters. Tonight, Etta weaves something new, a tapestry, unlike any other. It will show the abbey as it once was, before vines claimed its arches. When monks sang at dawn and lit candles with flint, and the garden bloomed with sage and feverfew. As she spins, She speaks quietly to the threads. You'll remember the stained glass, she murmurs. The way it caught firelight and morning sun. She adds a thread the color of dried rose petals, dyed with madder root. Then one as blue as twilight, from the petals of woad, and one the color of rain-washed stone. Each has been chosen with care. Each was dyed under a full moon. Each one hums with old, soft magic. Did you know? In medieval times, it was believed that moonlight could bless cloth, that spinning beneath its glow would make the fabric softer, or even capture a dream within the threads. They believed dreams could travel down the spindle, from the mind into the yarn, and live there forever. And perhaps that's what Ida does. Not to trap dreams, but to share them. She weaves quiet places. She weaves long-lost songs. She weaves warmth for cold bones and peace for wandering minds. The wheel turns, the wool tightens, and the night sighs. Out in the woods, the foxes have curled into their den. The deer tuck their legs beneath them, blinking slowly into sleep. The trees sway gently, leaves rustling like whispered prayers. And above it all, the moon watches, round and pale and patient. Edda works on, not in haste, never in haste. Each motion is a meditation. Each thread, a breath. And you, too, dear listener. You can breathe with her in, out, like the spin of the wheel. No rush, no noise, only peace. And now, sweet dreamer, let yourself feel heavier, as if your limbs were woven from warm wool and moss. Let your breath slow. As Edda's spinning slows, let your thoughts grow soft, like moonlight on tapestry. The candle flickers, the owl hoots once more, and the spindle hums its steady lullaby. You are safe. You are warm. You are already halfway into a dream. WHRRRRRRR. ... The wheel turns. It's not just wool that moves under Ida's fingers. It's time. It's memory. It's the quiet sigh of centuries. Outside, the moon has risen a little higher, casting soft silver upon the ivy. Inside the cottage, the candle has burned halfway down. Its scent is sweet, honeyed, like golden summer fields pressed into wax. The room is warm now. It's the kind of warmth that comes from stillness, the kind that fills the air when someone hums an old tune by heart, or when hands repeat a motion they've known for years. A quiet rhythm. Edda is not alone in her work. Oh no, not really. Though the world around her sleeps, the past sits with her, silent guests of thread and thought. She speaks softly as she spins, not to mirth, who slumbers, but to those who came before. Do you remember, she whispers, how Brother Ulrich dropped his ink pot in the garden? Her lips curve in a smile as she draws out a thread the color of spilled violet, and the loom seems to listen. Did you know? Many medieval weavers believed that their spinning wheels were more than tools. They were bridges. Bridges between the now and the before, between the waking world and dreams. It's why they often whispered to their wheels, not because they were lonely, but because they knew they weren't truly alone. Each tapestry you see was a kind of echo, a quiet retelling, a way to say, I was here, I saw, I remember, and tonight, Ida remembers. She threads in a line of smoky gray for the abbey's soot-dark chimney, a soft moss green for the cloister's garden wall, and a thread of moon-pale woolen touched by dye for the hush of snowfall in early spring, because tonight her tapestry tells not just of stone and glass, of spaces between sound, of listening. You, too, can listen now. Let your ears soften to the smallest details. The creak of her wooden chair, the rustle of wool bundles as she lifts another skein. The gentle scratch of a mouse exploring a cupboard, the far-off trill of a nightingale deep in the forest's heart. These are the lullabies of her world, and of yours now, too. Etta closes her eyes for a moment, not to rest, but to remember the shape of the abbey's bell tower before the lightning took it down. In her mind, it still stands tall, stone upon stone, a perch for doves, a guardian of the village. She opens her eyes and weaves that memory into thread. Now, it will always be there. Even if the stones fall away completely someday, her weaving will hold it up. Did you know? In medieval Europe, wool was more precious than gold to many villagers. They called it white gold because it clothed them, warmed them, and gave life to markets and towns. Weavers were respected, but their work was slow, deliberate, sacred. It could take weeks to card and spin enough yarn, then days more to weave even a single yard of cloth. But Etta never rushed. Her hands moved like clockwork before the world even knew what a clock was. And you, sweet listener, are learning to move slowly, to, like breath, like time measured only by stars. Outside, the wind picks up slightly. It sighs through the stone arches of the ruined abbey. A soft, whistling lullaby that winds through empty windows and overgrown steps. Inside, the candle guttered once, then caught again. Its flame dances like a fox in snow. Etta stands now, stretching her arms, her joints cracking just a little like old floorboards. She walks to a chest at the far wall, one carved long ago with images of vines and birds. From it, she lifts a bundle wrapped in soft linen. It's a finished tapestry. Once she's kept folded away until just the right moment. She unrolls it slowly, each movement quiet, reverent, as though waking a sleeping story. The image it reveals shows the old year, its final days, marked with falling leaves, lantern light, and children pressing handprints in fresh snow. Her fingers drift over it, and she lifts it to hang upon the wall above her bed. Because her tapestries do not go to market. They do not adorn great halls. They live here, in the quiet, where dreams grow. Now, Edda returns to her seat. She spins again. The spindle hums, and above her, the stars shift gently in their ancient, silent paths. Can you feel it, too? The world slowing, the night deepening, the breath of the earth growing quiet. It's okay to let go a little more now, to let your thoughts unravel like spools of thread and drift gently, softly. You're wrapped in the warmth of wool. You're nestled by a hearth that never dims. You're watching the moonlight stitch dreams through the rafters. You're part of the story now. The night is quiet now. Even the owls have gone still. Only the soft tick-tick-tick of Edda's shuttle remains, and the hush of her breath. Slow, steady, serene. The wind curls against the shutters, but it does not knock. It whispers, and Edda listens. She always listens. The loom before her is older than her, older than memory. Its wood is dark with oil and years. Its pegs are smooth from hands long past. Some say it was built by a monk from the abbey. When the bell tower still touched the sky, and when Edda touches it, she feels not just grain and splinters, but footsteps echoing down a cloister, the chant of morning prayers, the scent of lavender oil pressed by candlelight. Each part of the loom has a name: the warp beam, the heddle, the reed, the shuttle. Old names, strong names. They carry a kind of dignity, like everything in this quiet life. Did you know? In medieval times, tapestry weaving was often done in silence, especially in abbeys and convents. Not from strictness, but because every thread was a prayer. They believed the more quietly a thing was made, the more loudly it spoke to the soul. Edda never took vows, but she holds to that stillness all the same. And perhaps you feel that, too. The peace of doing nothing but listening, to the soft rhythm of thread, the hush of time sliding past you like water. Tonight's tapestry grows slowly. It shows the garden that once bloomed beneath the abbey windows, not grand, not trimmed, or noble. She weaves rows of mint and thyme, soft blue flax, foxglove, and marigold. Each flower has its thread, each thread a story. She pauses for a moment, picks up a length of deep green dyed with nettle and iron, smooths it between her fingers. Brother Cadric always sang to the rosemary, she murmurs, And into the weave she presses that note of song. Mirth stirs in his basket. He stretches, paws first, then tail, then back. His whiskers twitch once, and he settles again. The candle flickers, but does not fail. Outside, a light frost has begun to form. It lays soft upon the window pane, drawing delicate white veins, like lace spun by winter's own hand. But inside the cottage, it is warm. Warm with wool and candle flame, warm with memory, warm with quiet purpose. Let that warmth curl around you now, like a shawl placed gently across your shoulders, like a hand brushing your hair behind your ear. You are held. You are safe. You are surrounded by stories. Edda leans back for a moment. Her hands pause. She closes her eyes and sees the abbey garden not as it was, but as it could have been. Vines grown thick with healing, bees buzzing low and slow. Dappled light falling over a stone bench where a girl like her might once have sat, dreaming of tapestries and moonlight. She lets that image guide her next row. Thread by thread, color by color, emotion by breath. Because the heart can be woven, too. In some villages, people believed that if you whispered a wish into a spinning thread at midnight, that wish would be carried into the fabric forever. It would wrap itself around the wearer. It would cradle them in sleep. It would protect them long after the weaver was gone. Perhaps Ida believes this still. Or perhaps she only hopes. But tonight, as she weaves the garden, she whispers just once. A branch taps the glass gently, a sign of snow to come. The loom creaks once like it's sighing, and Ida yawns. Even she feels it now. The slow, soft weight of night. But still, her hands move. Not to finish, only to continue. There is no rush. She weaves not for coin, not for praise, but because it brings peace. And peace, she knows, is a gift that grows when given. You can feel it too, can't you? The spinning wheel turning in your thoughts. The soft wool of your breath, in and out, in and out. You don't need to follow every word anymore. You can drift between the lines, like a thread through fabric, like light through leaves. There is no wrong way to listen, only this way, soft and slow. And so the tapestry grows, the garden expands. Edda adds a final line of soft brown for the basket where apples once rested, a streak of cloud white for the cat who dozed in the sun, and one final shimmer of thread dyed with crushed shells, a gift from the coast, long ago, and the loom goes still. For now, the candle is low. The wheel has stopped. But outside, the moon still shines. And somewhere in the forest, a fox lifts its nose to the wind and knows that all is well. Sleep now, little dreamer. Edda is watching the stars. She'll keep the thread from tangling. You just rest. The fire has dimmed to a low, glowing hush. Embers pulse beneath ash like the last flickers of day, forgotten beneath layers of twilight. She doesn't need to. The loom has heard all she meant to say tonight. Instead, she turns to a small table tucked beside the hearth. On it, a ceramic pot. The glaze is cracked and worn, but still lovely, painted in the shape of ivy curling around stars. From inside it, she draws a soft bundle of herbs. Lavender, chamomile, a pinch of dried apple blossom. She sprinkles the blend into a little copper pot and pours warm water over the herbs. The scent wraps around the room like a lullaby, like something old and remembered, something passed down from a time before memory. Did you know? In medieval homes, dried herbs were not just used for healing. Bundles of rosemary and mint were tucked into pillows. Lavender hung above doors to keep nightmares away. Chamomile tea was brewed with warm milk to soothe even the most troubled thoughts. And Etta knows this. She always has. Her tea is steeped not just in warmth, but in silence, in patience, in the gentle understanding that some nights the soul needs softness more than anything else. She sips slowly, one small sip, then another. Outside, the frost has begun to lace the ground. The moon gleams above the trees, bright and full, like a lantern lit in the sky just for her. A fox passes the edge of the clearing, its coat dusted with silver, its eyes catching the light. But it does not disturb the peace. It knows this place. Knows the rhythm of her wheel, the warmth of her window, the safety of her presence. Etta hums to herself, a tune older than parchment, older than ink. She does not remember the words. She does not need to. The melody alone carries the meaning, comfort, memory, home. And you, little one, you are part of that song now. Let it settle around you like snow. Cool at first, but warm once you're wrapped inside it. Her eyes grow heavy, but she does not yet sleep. First, she reaches for a small box. It is carved from alder wood, its lid smooth from years of use. Inside, buttons, scraps of lace, a feather, a coin worn, and at the very bottom, a spool of silver thread. She lifts it gently, as if it might crumble at the sound of her breath. This thread was spun only once a year, on the longest night, made from flax and something else, something secret. She keeps it for special tapestries, those meant for dreams. Did you know? Silver thread was once believed to bind visions. Some said if you wove it beneath your pillow, you'd see the future in your sleep. Others claimed it caught moonlight and pulled it gently into your dreams, to light the way through darkness. But Etta believes not because she must, but because belief itself is a kind of thread, invisible, but binding all the same. She tucks the spool back into its resting place. Not tonight. Tonight's work is done, but there will be another moon. There is always another moon. She stands slowly, her knees creaking softly like the wooden floor. And mirth, ever faithful, follows. She carries her tea to the window, watches frost spread across the grass like a quiet tide, watches the moon trace silver lines through the forest, and she whispers, "Thank you, to the thread, to the wheel, to the stillness, to the stars, to the stars, to the peace that comes when hands are busy and hearts are quiet. You, too, may whisper if you like. To no one, to yourself, to the hush between your breaths. You may say thank you for rest, for softness, for time slowing down, or say nothing at all. Let silence be your lullaby." Now Ida places her tea down. She smooths her bedspread woven by her own hand. Every stitch a dream, every thread a whisper. She slides beneath it slowly. Mirth curls at her feet, and just before she closes her eyes, she speaks aloud. May dreams come gently. The candle flickers once, then stills. The moon keeps watch. The loom stands ready, silent for now, but never truly still. And you, dear dreamer, you may rest. You may drift. You may sink softly into the arms of sleep. Outside, the frost settles deeper into the earth. The trees do not move. Even the stream nearby seems to hush, its flow soft by the cold, and within the cottage, time barely breathes. Ida sleeps. Her breath is soft, barely rising, barely falling. She lies curled beneath her woven quilt, the tapestry of an entire year held gently over her, a garden in thread, a memory in wool, a lullaby in color. Mirth rests nearby, his tail tucked close, his ears twitching now and then. All around them, the room holds its quiet. Chairs remember sitting. The hearth remembers warmth. The spinning wheel waits, as it always does, patient, still content to be motionless, until the stars call again. In medieval times, sleep was often taken in two parts. People would wake after a few hours, walk or read or sit by the fire, then return to slumber. They called it first sleep and second sleep. And in those waking hours between, many believed they were closest to the dream world. Neither here nor there, but somewhere gently in between. And perhaps now, you are there too. The cottage is not alone. Beyond the woods, across the quiet fields, the world breathes slowly in slumber. A shepherd dreams beneath the stars, wrapped in a cloak passed down from his mother. A baker's daughter stirs beneath patchwork quilts, one square embroidered with a lily. A child in a distant hamlet clutches a soft toy mouse sewn from scraps left over. And far, far away, a monk writes by candlelight, recording dreams brought to him by a traveler who once carried Ida's wool in their pack. The threads go farther than Edda knows. Or maybe she does know, and simply chooses not to speak of it. Her weavings are quiet gifts, unmarked, unsigned, yet filled with presence. She never travels, but her hands have touched more hearts than she'll ever see. Back in the cottage, a faint sound stirs, not from Ida, not from mirth, but from the loom. It shifts, just slightly, a soft wooden creak, as if stretching, as if it, too, dreams.
And why not?
If thread can carry memory, and wheels can hum with peace, perhaps looms can dream of colors not yet spun. A wisp of wind presses against the window. The shutters rattle once, then still, and slowly. The moon begins its slow descent across the sky. The stars drift behind thin clouds like lanterns beneath a veil, and somewhere far away a nightingale begins to sing. Low at first, the notes rise into the cold air, curling gently, reaching no ears at all, and yet not minding that, because not all songs are meant to be heard. Some are simply meant to be sung. Did you know? In medieval villages, people believed certain birds carried souls, that owls spoke to the lost, and nightingales comforted the lonely. Edda once stitched a tapestry of birds, 6 dozen species, each with wings outstretched. She called it the flight between worlds. And it still hangs in the great hall of a chapel no longer used, except by those seeking a quiet place to cry. The fire has gone to ash, but the room remains warm, held together by wool, and wood, and stillness. Her dreams move through the garden, past stone arches, beneath stained glass. She brushes a memory with her fingertips. The sound of her grandmother's voice, the weight of a spindle in her child-sized hands. The moment she first learned that fabric was just a story you could touch. Outside, the fox returns. It leaves no prints, only a sense of having passed by, like a thought at the edge of sleep. The abbey remains quiet. Its roof has long since fallen in. Its bells lie buried beneath time. And yet, some say, if the moon is full, you can still hear one soft chime. Just before the hour turns, Ida has heard it only once. She never spoke of it, but she wove a tapestry that night, all in shades of silver. It hangs in the rafters now, a moon caught in fabric, waiting for you to dream it. You're doing so well, sweet listener. Let the warmth hold you. Let the hush settle deeper. You don't need to stay awake. You don't need to follow each word. This story will carry you, even if your eyes drift closed. Even if your breath grows slow and deep, let it carry you, like a thread drawn through wool, soft, steady, gentle. You are part of the tapestry now, and you are safe. The stars begin to fade, not with urgency, but with the gentle patience of night. Beyond the hills, the faintest brush of color touches the sky, not quite light, but not darkness either. That soft, in-between moment. The breath before waking. Inside the cottage, the hush still holds. Edda does not stir. Her dreams are long and unhurried. A walk through meadows embroidered with spring. A spindle turning beneath a tree heavy with pears. The kind of dreams that do not vanish with dawn, but fold gently into memory, like cloth set on a shelf, scented with lavender and thyme. Mirth opens one eye, then the other. He stretches like ribbon unspooling, then hops silently to the floor. He pads over to the window and peers through the glass. The sky is dusted with rose and gray. A single star remains Venus, perhaps watching the world wake. Mirth only blinks once, then curls again by the hearth. There's still time, still softness, still shadow. Did you know? In some medieval texts, it was believed that the world held a blue hour between night and day, a time when magic was nearest the earth. Cooks waited to bake bread until the sun had fully risen. Woolworkers paused before spinning. Even the monks waited for that first golden spill of light before lighting their morning candles. The air was thought to be thinner, gentler, full of memory, a time for whispering, a time for wonder. And so, in this blue hour, the loom stirs. Again, not by hand, but by presence. It has soaked in the stories of centuries, the oils of fingers long past, the hush of rooms filled with breath but no sound. It remembers. And now, as the sky brightens, it glows softly, as if lit from within. A faint shimmer of dust dances across the threads. The tapestry on its frame isn't finished, but it doesn't mind. Tapestries, like people, sometimes wait between one life and another. Edda turns over in bed. Her brow smooths. Her hand, even in sleep, reaches for thread. It does not find any, but it doesn't matter. The feel of the loom is stitched into her dreams. The rhythm, the softness, the way wool listens. And tonight, she dreams of the abbey not in ruin, but whole, bells tolling for morning, candles lit in colored glass. A procession of barefoot children carrying spring branches. In her dream, they wear cloaks she wove. Though she has never seen them before, she smiles, even in sleep. Outside, the frost begins to melt. Slowly, silently. The world is waking, but not fast, not harshly. like a dream you carry with you into the day, fragile but bright. Some weavers believed that dew collected on the morning after a full moon was especially powerful. They would gather it in quiet, before the birds even sang, and use it to soften their fibers before dyeing. They said it made the colors deeper, more alive, touched by something unseen. And Ida, once many years ago, did just that. She woke before even mirth, walked barefoot through the meadow, and filled a clay bowl with silver drops. She never used it. Not for dyeing. She keeps it still, a sealed jar, hidden in her chest, waiting for the right cloth, or perhaps the right dream. The wind lifts gently now, stirring the ivy, brushing the ashes in the hearth. The loom creaks once more, a slow stretch like a yawn and mirth. He lifts his head and looks toward the doorway, not in alarm, but in knowing. Something is coming. Not a visitor, not a storm. Just the next moment. And then a bird sings. Just one note, pure, bright, round as a pearl. The first song of the day. Edda opens her eyes, slowly, softly, like a petal touched by light. She lies still a moment, watching the ceiling, listening to her breath, to the cat, to the hush, just before everything begins again. Then she rises, quietly, steadily, gratefully. She does not rush to the loom. She simply stands in the blue, her hands warm from sleep, her heart full of weaving yet to be done. And in her mind, she thinks of a new design. One with no abbey, no stone, no past, only sky. Only the soft shimmer of thread spun from a dream not yet told. You can stay here, if you like. In this space between hush, you don't have to wake. Not yet. Let your breath be your shuttle. Let your pulse be your rhythm. You're not leaving the story. You're becoming it. The blue hour fades. The first gold of morning spills across the sky, spooling light over frost-laced meadows, over the old stones of the abbey, still and listening. Inside the cottage, she does not rush the morning. She welcomes it. A kettle warms on the hearth. The scent of barley tea rises into the air, earthy, soft, familiar. And by the window, she brushes her fingers through a skein of wool dyed the pale green of budding leaves. Today, she will weave the beginning of spring. In medieval calendars, the year began not in January, but in March. Spring marked the true renewal, the time when earth softened, when lambs were born, when the first threads of hope wove themselves into the fabric of the world. To many, spring was sacred. The return of light, of life, of warmth. Ida honors this still. She doesn't mark her days by pages or clocks, but by what color the morning feels like. And today feels like the very first petal brushing, open to sun. She ties the green thread onto her loom, tugs it once gently, as if waking a sleeping spirit. The tapestry before her is new, only the border woven. A simple frame of white and soft brown. She breathes in and begins. She seek. The shuttle glides, a rhythm made only for her hands. Outside, a robin sings. Not just one note this time, but a full phrase, round and hopeful. The garden stirs. Small shoots stretch from beneath the soil, reaching toward the growing sun. She weaves a path first, a narrow foot trail winding between meadows. She chooses a thread the color of river stones, gray with flickers of blue. Then, on either side, tufts of green. New grass, still soft, still unsure. She adds crocus petals, barely purple, barely there. And all the while, her face remains calm, but her fingers move with joy. Wool was once dyed using the earliest spring flowers. Not in vats or cauldrons, but in small bundles, pressed with care, steeped in sunlight and dew, wove for blue, madder for red, and crocus for pale purple. These weren't just colors. They were seasons preserved in cloth. And Ida, she remembers every hue the earth ever gave her. A breeze stirs the curtain. It smells faintly of thawed earth and distant rain. Mirth stretches, then leaps up to the sill, watching the clouds shift with lazy curiosity. The light touches the tapestry now, not just moonlight, but sunlight. And in that light, the colors sing louder. Etta smiles. She reaches for a thread the color of sunshine through birch leaves. A soft yellow, barely there. She will weave a morning. Hours pass, but they do not weigh her. Time flows like yarn, measured only by breath, by warmth, by how much of the day has slipped into the fabric of her loom. She pauses to sip her tea, still warm, still fragrant. Then she hums. A lullaby not for sleep, but for waking. A tune her mother used to sing as she swept the doorstep, as she braided Ida's hair, as the morning rose and the past held its breath. And now you, listener, you are drifting again. That's all right. You're meant to let the rhythm of the shuttle guide you. Let the pattern of thread unwind your thoughts, one by one, until only softness remains. Breathe in the scent of warm tea, wool, and the first blossoms of spring. Breathe out the day, the noise, the weight. You don't need to carry anymore. You're here, still nestled in the hush of the story, still wrapped in the threads of night and morning. Ida leans back. Her hands fall to her lap. The tapestry has shape now, a winding path, a few trees, a stone, well, waiting for water. She doesn't weave it all at once. There's no need. Each thread deserves its time, its story. And some moments are best left unfinished until the dream asks for them again. She sets the shuttle down, not from tiredness, not from haste, just to listen. To the breeze, to the robin, to the sound of morning becoming afternoon. The tapestry glows in the golden light. It waits, and Ida smiles, because some beauty is in the becoming. And you, dear one, you are becoming too, drifting deeper, thought by thought, into the garden of your own quiet. Let the weight slide away. Let the threads hold you. You are safe here. You are warm. And morning is still far away. The sun now touches the tops of the trees. It drips golden honey along the edges of the leaves, paints silver lines on the corners of Edda's cottage window. Birdsong lingers in the air, but the day remains gentle. Like someone speaking only in a whisper, Edda lifts her eyes from the loom. Not to stop, but simply to see. She watches the light change the room. Watches how the motes of dust swirl like tiny stars, dancing with the breath of the house itself. How the beams of sunlight slide slowly across the wooden floorboards, reaching toward her feet. Even the walls. Mirth, having dozed through most of the morning, pads over to the table and sniffs at a bowl of leftover milk. He laps once, then turns, tail flicking, and hops into the window box, where sun warms the wooden sill. He curls into a perfect circle, nose tucked beneath paw, fur lit by light. And outside, the world turns, but not fast, not urgently. Some medieval folk believe that cats could see spirits, not spirits to fear, but old memories, flickers of what had been. Like the ghosts of warm conversations held in quiet kitchens long after everyone had gone. It was said that if a cat stared too long at a corner, you shouldn't be afraid. You should listen, because someone might be trying to tell you they remember you. Edda never told anyone what Mirth sees, but she always lets him stare. And she always leaves room beside the hearth, just in case. The tapestry waits. Today's work is not hurried. It is not planned. Edda lets her fingers choose. A pale gold thread, the color of wild buttercups. A soft cream, like milk in morning tea. She stitches a single tree, its branches still bare, but its shape proud, ready, and under it, a woven bench. No one sits on it yet, but someone will. The air shifts. Not cold, just different. A whisper of something arriving. Edda tilts her head. She listens. Not for voices, not for knocks, for the stillness. It has changed, and she knows what that means. Once or twice a year, someone finds the path, a trevela, a lost soul with wool in their heart, even if they don't know it yet. And when that moment draws near, Edda always feels it. The threads tighten, as if the tapestry knows a new story is about to be born. She rises from the loom, quiet as ever, walks to the hearth, adds a single log, and stirs the embers back to life. Not hurried, not expectant. In medieval inns, a fire was often kept burning at all hours, in case a traveler arrived in need of warmth. It was known as the common flame, not owned. Not claimed, but always offered, a gift of welcome. Edda does the same. Though her door rarely opens, the hearth is always ready, the kettle always within reach, the second cup always clean, because even in silence, hospitality and kindness is its own kind of warmth. She opens the small cupboard near the door. Inside, a basket with a folded shawl, wool, thick and soft, dyed plum and midnight blue. She lifts it, brushes it clean of dust, and places it by the chair closest to the fire. A place for a guest, should they come. And even if they don't, the shawl will remember the weight of waiting. Edda returns to the loom. Her hands find the shuttle, as if it had never left them. She adds a thread of blue, a path of sky between branches, and one more flower, yellow like the yolk of a morning egg. She hums again, a tune like sunlight warming stone, and the cottage listens, and mirth listens, and somewhere, so does the traveler. They are not close yet, not quite, but their footsteps have begun. Soft, hesitant, stirring moss and old leaves on a path. They do not know Edda's name. They do not know they are coming to her door, but something in their chest pulls them forward. A feeling, a memory, a thread tugged gently by something woven in moonlight, and in time they will arrive, but not yet. Now there is peace. Now there is peace. Now. Me. And you, dear listener, may rest again. Because the sun still listens. Because the threads have not yet finished your dream. So let your breath deepen. Let your thoughts soften. Let yourself be a walking slowly through sun-dappled woods toward the warmth of Edda's hearth, not in haste, not in silence, just in rhythm. A bird chirps softly, then quiets. The sun shifts across the sky like a golden scarf being folded. The trees outside the cottage sway gently, their branches casting slow-moving shadows on the ground. Inside, the loom sings. Not loudly, not even out loud, but through the steady click of shuttle and thread, the hush of wool drawn through fingers, the hush of breath in and out. Edda continues her work, but not to finish. There's no such thing as finished in the language of thread. Every tapestry is only ever paused. Like a thought you leave at the edge of sleep, hoping to pick it up again come morning. Today, she has added soft clouds above the trees, a distant hill beneath the horizon, and a patch of earth stitched in rich brown. The garden will grow there in time. For now, it only needs space. Did you know? In medieval gardens, certain herbs were planted not for medicine or food, but for dreams. Rue for memory, mugwort for visions, vervain for protection during sleep. Monks and healers believed that when planted beneath one's window, these herbs could guide the soul gently through the veil of night. Edda has them all, still growing by her door, even if no one tends them but wind and time. Sometimes, she presses the leaves in old books. Sometimes, she tucks them into her pillow. Sometimes, she weaves them into her cloth. Not in shape, but in feeling. The light begins to lower again. Soft gold melts to amber. Amber leans into copper, and copper folds itself into dusk. Outside, the shadows stretch longer now, but not ominous, like sleepy arms reaching for rest. And in the distance, the faintest sound of feet, crunching leaves, brushing against ferns, pausing, then continuing. Mirth lifts his head. One ear perks. Edda does not move, but her lips form the smallest smile. She threads one final line of moss green across the bottom of her tapestry. The tapestry, still unfinished, gleams slightly in the softening light. It knows the guest is near. She rises, moving slowly, as if her own bones have learned the rhythm of the thread. She pours warm water into the kettle again, adds mint and crushed rose hips. She sets 2 cups on the table, one for herself and one for whoever the road has brought her. The shawl still waits on the chair. The hearth crackles softly. The bench outside her door, once empty, now seems to lean a little more forward, ready. And then a knock. Soft, uncertain, as if the person behind it isn't sure whether they're awake. No surprise. Just a nod, a smile, an outstretched hand holding the smallest piece of wool, faintly silver, faintly moonlit. Ida accepts it, and the traveler steps inside. Long ago, certain villages believed that when someone returned a piece of wool from a dream, they were meant to stay with the weaver for a night, a season, or a lifetime, not because they were lost. And now, Ida has been found. The traveler does not speak much. They sit beside the hearth, hands wrapped around the warm cup. They stare at the tapestry. Their eyes soften, and slowly, Edda sits beside them. She picks up a spare shuttle and draws a single thread of silver. She holds it out. An invitation. Together, they begin to weave. Not with speed, not with worry, just one line. Then, side by side, as if they've done this for years, or in another life, or only ever in dreams. And all the while, the fire glows. The window darkens. The shadows wrap around the little house like a woolen cloak. And somewhere in the trees, a barn owl calls once and is answered. The world hushes. Even the wind grows still. And inside, the loom sings a new song, a duet now. A welcome. A weaving of stories that were always meant to meet. And you, dear listener, you are part of this too. Your breath, your stillness, your dreams, you are the thread that binds it all. Let yourself rest again. Let your body go heavy. Let your thoughts dim like the firelight. You are in the cottage now. Wrapped in story, held in quiet, let the shuttle pass. Let the threads whisper. Let sleep come. Softly. Night settles fully now. Not suddenly, but like ink spilled gently across the edges of the sky, spreading slow, velvety, quiet. The fire inside Edda's cottage glows lower, casting flickers on the walls, turning everything gold, then copper, then shadow. The kettle is empty. The cups are half drained. The scent of rose hips and mint still lingers. And at the loom, sea spray Edda, with her practiced fingers, precise, calm, knowing. The traveler, with hands unsure at first, but guided by something deeper. Together, they weave not just threads, but understanding. The tapestry grows. The path stretches onward. Trees bloom. Soft stars are stitched into corners of sky. The bench beneath the tree is no longer empty. A figure sits on it, woven gently with hair of auburn thread, hands resting on a lap full of spring flowers. Is it the traveler? Is it someone else? It doesn't matter. They belong here. And the loom agrees. Did you know? In medieval manuscripts, there were hidden images called marginalia. Sometimes they were whimsical, sometimes reverent, sometimes strange, but always they were personal, a secret language between the scribe and the page. Edda does the same with her weaving. A small stitched fox beneath a fern. A sleeping mouse near the garden stones. A falling star, stitched in silver, hidden in the curve of a hill. Not everyone sees them, but those who do feel seen. The traveler reaches for a sky blue thread. Their hand brushes Edda's, no words. Just warmth, just shared breath. The loom accepts the thread, and with a soft creak, it leans ever so slightly forward, as if eager to gather more dreams, more stories, more sleep, mirth, curled on the window ledge, watches with half-closed eyes. He flicks his tail once. Then, as if satisfied, returns to his dream. In it, he is not just a cat. He is a guardian of thread. He walks along narrow beams inside the abbey ruins, carrying the stories of the weaver on velvet paws, delivering dreams from one village to another. Even cats have stories, especially the quiet ones. Outside the cottage, the moon rises full again, round and bright, spilling light like thread across the earth. It touches the tops of trees, glides over the roof, and spills softly through the high window, landing across the tapestry on the loom. And the silver threads catch it and shimmer. Just a little, just enough. Etta stops weaving. Her hand rests gently on the edge of the loom. She breathes in and lets it out slow. The traveler stops too. They look at her, eyes wide with stillness. "You've done enough for tonight," Ida whispers. Not as an end, just as a pause. The loom agrees. They fold the wool carefully, place the shuttle down, brush their fingers along the fabric as one might stroke the page of a loved book or the edge of a dream. Then Etta stands, crosses to the small shelf above the hearth, and lifts down a soft lantern glow held behind tinted glass. She carries it to the corner of the room, where a second bed has always waited, not made for guests. Made for someone who hadn't yet arrived. Until now. She turns down the woolen blanket, flicks out the pillow, lays the shawl plum and midnight blue across the foot. The traveler says nothing. They don't need to. Their eyes are glassy, their shoulders soft. They are ready, and so they lie down. The bed accepts them. The blanket wraps them. The fire hums a lullaby, and Ida. She returns to her chair. Her own cup, now cool, but still comforting, in her palms. She watches the fire, listens to the slow, even breath of someone safe. Someone warm, someone home. Did you know? In some corners of medieval Europe, it was believed that if two people dreamed in the same room beneath a shared beam, not forever, not in chains, just in a thread of understanding woven in sleep. Etta believes this, and tonight, she feels the stitch pull gently through her own heart, soft and steady. She leans back, and she lets her own eyes close. The loom is quiet. The cat is still. The house breathes. Outside, the wind brushes softly against the door. It does not knock. It does not enter, it only watches, and carries word to the forest that another traveler has found their thread, and that the weaver has, once again, woven silence into comfort. And you, let your breath slow, let your limbs go soft, let the firelight in your mind dim to a golden ember. You are part of this cottage. You are part of the tapestry. You are safe here. Dream now, softly. The moon is high now, suspended in velvet sky, It shines down like a watchful eye, not stern. It lights the roof tiles of Ede's cottage, spills into the garden path, traces silver lines along the edges of ivy, and inside, all is calm. The fire is low, just soft crackles, a lullaby made of warmth. Ida sleeps in her chair. The traveler breathes slow, wrapped in dreams that do not rush, that do not speak in words, only in colors, in sounds, in woven memory. Its threads shimmer faintly in the moonlight, not moving, but alive. You see, some tapestries finish themselves, not in thread, but in meaning. The shapes already woven seem to hum. The paths drawn in wool feel ready to be walked. Not by hands, not by scissors or cloth, but by thought, by dreaming. Did you know? In some early monasteries, monks believed that cloth could hold prayer. Not stitched words, but the intention of the hands that wove it. That a cloak, lovingly made, might carry the weight of 1,000 whispered hopes. And so, Tueda's tapestry breathes now. Not with sound. A map made not for the eyes, but for the heart. Outside an owl circles once. Its wings make no sound. It drifts over trees, over thatched rooftops, over fields silvered with mist. And far below, the abbey ruins rest. Stones glistening under moonlight, as if remembering what it once was. And in the hollow where the bell used to swing, a single ivy tendril has begun to bloom. Moonflowers, open only in the dark. Eda stirs in her sleep. Her fingers twitch, as though catching a thread that doesn't quite exist. Not yet. And in her dream, she walks a path. The very path she's woven all day, now made real beneath her bare feet. It leads through blooming trees, past meadows glowing with mist, toward something unseen. Not rushed, not feared, simply waited for. The traveler sleeps too, but not without dreams. They are carried along a different thread, one spun, not by Ida, but by themselves. Old songs hiding in embroidered hills. The face of a mother woven into the clouds above. The dreams are gentle. They do not tug. They do not demand. They offer a place to return to. A place they never knew they missed until now. And you, too. You are dreaming. Perhaps you don't know it yet. Perhaps you think you're listening still, but your breath has slowed, your limbs have grown heavy, your mind now quiet. You are floating in story, and story is floating in you. Let it take you. Let it carry you. You are not gone. You are home. In the dark, a soft sound, wood creaking. Not harsh, like the stretch of an old house sighing in its sleep. The loom settles slightly. Satisfied. The tapestry rests. Its purpose fulfilled, not in an ending, but in a becoming. It has carried a story, held it gently, offered it. And that is enough. Did you know? Old weavers believed that when a tapestry was finished, you should sleep beside it for one night, to thank it, to feel what it had become, to allow it to become part of your dreams before it left your hands. Edda has always done this. But this one will stay. It is not meant to travel. It is meant to remain, to whisper its story to the next traveler, and the next. We never finish telling, we just keep weaving. The moon dips slightly now. Its light cools, night deepens, but gently, no rush toward morning, just space, just breath. And in the cottage, the dreamers rest. 3 hearts, 1 loom, and above them, the threads stretch silently from beam to beam, like constellations waiting for someone to trace their shape. Let your own breath settle now. You are welcome here. You are needed here. You are part of the thread, woven softly, woven slow, into a story that only dreams Nember, sleep now. Let the loom hold the rest. The stars, they are beginning to fade, not vanish, just soften, like breath on a mirror or memory in early morning light. The sky shifts again, that ancient, slow-turning wheel. Darkness sighs, and along the edge of the world, a whisper of pale gray begins to bloom. It blinks. It remembers. Inside the cottage, nothing stirs. Not Ida, not mirth, not the traveler. But the house itself, it feels the change. The beams warm slightly. The stones grow less cold. The wooden floorboards exhale. Their quiet creaks. The kettle gives a single soft pop, though no fire burns beneath it. As if even the iron remembers. Today is a new day. A day after something sacred. A day made softer by what came before. Did you know? In some ancient weaving traditions, a finished tapestry was not shown to the village right away. It was kept in shadow. Blessed. Dreamed over. It had to sleep first, as if even woven stories needed rest. Before they could be truly understood. That's why Edda's loom remains untouched this morning. No hands move. No thread is added. The tapestry, completed in dreamlight and silence, rests across the frame. And the house lets it. The traveler stirs first, eyes half open, breath slow. They don't rise. Instead, they listen. To the rhythm of the walls, to the sigh of wind through shutters, to the warm hush. They smile, not because of anything remembered, but because of the feeling. The deep, quiet, knowing that something has shifted within. like a door that was always there, has been found open. Etta wakes moments later, not startled, not tired, simply ready. Her eyes open, and her hand lifts instinctively to rest gently on the loom, as if saying thank you without needing words. Instead, she rises and begins her morning rhythm as the sky turns pale behind the windows. A shawl over her shoulders, the traveler sits beside her, and together they say nothing. The silence is enough. Did you know? In medieval kitchens, it was believed that too much talking early in the morning could scare away the luck of the day. So the first hour was often spent in hush, just fire crackling. Bread, a quiet start. Ida follows that custom, so does the traveler. Even Mirth is silent, though his tail flicks in contentment as he sits at the window, watching the first threads of light unravel across the grass. The tea is poured. Steam rises. It carries a scent of dried pear and thyme. A memory of warm orchards and afternoons spent beneath the shade of trees. Etta offers a small plate of seed bread, spread with soft honey. They eat slowly, not out of hunger but presence. A way of honoring morning as if it were a guest. After tea, Etta leads the traveler to the loom. They stand together, looking, breathing. The tapestry is not grand, not complex. It shows a path through a forest, a bench beneath a tree, a figure resting. But there are things beneath the threads, symbols no eyes could catch, layers of meaning that only souls can hear. The traveler reaches out, and their eyes fill with something quiet, something sacred. They whisper, "It feels like it remembers me." And Ida only nods, because it does. Later, when the sun is high enough to touch the far hills, Ida folds the tapestry. But to place on the shelf where other dream-woven cloths wait. Some for years, some for lifetimes. Each one, a map, a melody, a memory spun in moonlight. Each one part of the weave of the world. The traveler gathers their bag, not hurried, not reluctant, just full of questions answered, not with words, but with breath and quietness. They reach for the door. Etta walks over and presses something into their palm. A small spool of thread, silver and sky blue, wound tightly, soft as whispered stories. For later, she says, and the traveler understands. Did you know? Some ancient weavers believed that carrying a single thread could help you find your way back to a dream. But the same feeling, the same peace, the same you, that's what Etta offers. Not a goodbye, but a thread home. The traveler walks down the path, their figure small against the meadow. Mirth watches them from the window. Until they vanish around the bend, Ida returns to her loom. The tapestry is still. The frame, light. She touches it once, then draws a new thread. Today, she will begin again. Not because the last one is done, but because stories, like sleep, return to us night after night. And you, dear listener, you're a part of that return. Still wrapped in the hush, still glowing softly from within. Let this moment linger. Let the thread between you and the stories stay unbroken. And if you dream tonight, may it be of meadows and moonlight and quiet rooms. Sleep now, still deeper. The day unfolds quietly. No rush, no sharpness, only the long stretch of time made soft by morning's gentleness. Hedda stands at the garden edge, hands tucked into her apron. The soil is cool beneath her boots, and dew still kisses the leaves of her herb beds. Curled chamomile, stalks of woolly thyme. Above her, the sky yawns open wide, pale blue filled with promise, and the wind hums, low and warm, as if reminding her that nothing needs doing. Just today. Did you know? In many medieval villages, herbs weren't just for healing. They were kept to quiet the mind. Lavender on the windowsill, rosemary under the pillow. Chamomile in bathwater before long fasts or prayers. And sometimes they were tucked into thread bundles so that weavers could keep calm while spinning for hours. Ida has always followed that tradition. Even now, if you looked closely, you'd see a sprig of dried lavender tied with string above her loom. She moves through the garden slowly, checking each bed. Her hands brush along the tips of sage and golden yarrow, not to prune, just to say good morning. Even mirth joins her, weaving between her ankles like smoke with whiskers. They walk the narrow paths together, just a gardener and her cat. And silence, a silence that feels earned, that feels blessed. That feels like it's been waiting for you, too. Later, Edda returns inside. Her kettle is warm again. The fire whispers softly, barely more than an ember, but alive enough to glow in the dim corners of the room. The loom is empty now. No tapestry on its frame. But it doesn't feel bare. It feels ready, like a new page, or a hill untouched by footprints. She runs a hand along the wood. It hums back, just faintly. Yes, it says, let's begin again. She chooses her threads slowly. Today, it is soft colors, pale wheat, sea gray milk, and a thread of faded lilac from an old dye pot left by her mother decades ago. Each thread, Edda doesn't sketch her work. She listens instead to the way the day leans, to the way the wind talks against the shutters, to the quiet within her own bones. And then she begins. She teak. The shuttle glides. Once more. Not like last night, not like the one before. This story is different. It always is. This time, she begins with sky. Not bright, but hazy. A morning sky with threads that blur like mist. over fields not yet touched by sun. She weaves in a single bird, not flying, but perched, watching, waiting. Did you know? In medieval bestiaries, birds often symbolized the soul, not just because they flew, but because they paused. Because they lingered between earth and heaven, watching from branches, singing alone. Ida loves weaving birds. But because they hold silence well, they feel like questions left at the edge of sleep. Hours pass, not counted. A cup of tea cools beside her. Mirth naps again. Outside, the sun filters through low clouds, making the whole world seem like it's wrapped in thin linen. The kind used to bind old books, or to wrap lavender bundles before they dry. Even the air feels spun. And you, dear listener, you're still here, too. Not just hearing, but feeling. You've walked through the garden. You've brushed your fingers along the thread. You've watched the sky shift from pearl to ash to silver again. Let that settle deeper. Let it take hold in your chest like warmth from an old quilt. You don't have to hold the story. It's holding you. Ida hums, soft and low. A tune with no name, only pattern. It matches the movement of her loom, the hush of wool, the click and pass of the shuttle. Her mind does not wander. It does not need to. She is here, with the thread, with the morning. With her own stillness, the tapestry grows slowly. A horizon appears. A fence. A shadow of a barn beyond a curve in the path. Who lives there? She doesn't know yet. She'll find out when the dream tells her. She pauses for bread. Just a slice thick and crusted, spread with plum preserve from last season. She eats slowly, letting the sweetness pull gently against her tongue. It doesn't move, but it waits. It always waits. Because some stories aren't made in one day. Some are stitched thread by thread over long afternoons, with pauses between each breath, like yours. The sky turns golden again. Evening stretches its arms, but Etta doesn't rush. She weaves one last line, a glimmer of thread, the color of candlelight, and gently tucks the shuttle beneath the edge of the frame. Tomorrow will bring more. She has no need to finish it now. The fire welcomes her back. The chair creaks in, greeting. And as she wraps the shawl around her shoulders, the shadows slip across the floor like soft cats. And in the stillness, a thought floats gently across her mind. Someone will return. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe not for a long while. But the thread she gave away is tugging quietly through the world. And someday, like a dream remembered, it will find its way home. And you, dear dreamer, you've been found too. Not by someone else, by yourself. By this story, and this rhythm, and this quiet place inside you where the world softens and the thread never ends. Close your eyes if they're not closed already. Let your breathing deepen. Let your thoughts unravel, one by one. Sleep is coming. Let it. You are part of Weave now. You are home. Night comes gently. No fanfare. No harsh edges. Just a quiet folding of the sky, as if the sun has tucked the world into bed. And the moon now hums a lullaby you don't quite hear, but feel. The trees hush. The garden leans inward. Even the birds forget to call. And inside the cottage, the silence is sacred. The fire is low again. Just glowing coals now, the kind that hold warmth for hours. Even after the last flame has bowed away, Edda pours warm water into a shallow basin. Steam curls up, carrying hints of sage and violet. She dips a cloth in, wipes her hands clean. Not out of necessity, but ritual. She cleans the day from her palms, the way a painter steps back from the canvas when the dream has settled into color. Many medieval weavers believed that the oils from one's hands could bless the cloth or burden it. So they washed with herbs to calm the spirit, not just the skin. Edda's mother taught her that, she'd say, a cloth made in peace holds peace. And so, every evening, Ida lets the water draw out any noise from the day, so her sleep can come without knots. Mirth curls by the hearth again. His fur shines in the firelight. His slow breath rising like a lullaby in the shape of fur. He is the thread of the house. Always there. Always quiet. Always watching. And as Ida settles into her chair, he stirs once, walks to her side. Like your dreams, just finding their place. Edda holds no book tonight. Warm, fragrant, held between both hands, as if it, too, carries a story. She watches the loom. The new tapestry waits. Barely begun. Only the sky and a perched bird, a shadow of a hill beyond. But it already speaks. It already dreams. As if acknowledging her. As if saying, we're not done. But rest now. You've done enough for today. And so she does. And so do you. The night deepens again. No movement. No sound. Only rest. Only warmth. Only dreams carried by the weft and warp of something too soft to name. And you drift deeper. You are not watching the story anymore. You are part of it, woven in, peaceful, wrapped. A stillness rests over the land. Not the silence of emptiness, but of fullness, like a room after music, like breath after laughter, like the hush that lingers when something beautiful has passed through quietly and left its warmth behind. The stars, once sharp, now glow softer. Their light feels woven, not scattered, as if each point in the sky is stitched with care into the night's quilt. And the moon leans low. She watches, she listens, she waits. Inside the cottage, all remains wrapped in sleep. The fire has dimmed to soft orange coals. The air is cool but kind. The beams hold the warmth of old wood, and the windows cradle the early silver of Mirth lies curled into a perfect spiral, his chest rising and falling in time with the breath of the walls around him. Even the shadows here breathe. Even the silence dreams. In her chair by the loom, Etta sleeps without stirring. No furrow on her brow, no tension in her hands. Her shawl has slipped slightly from her shoulder. A single strand of hair rests across her cheek, bright in the moonlight, like silver. Her dreams are quiet tonight. No journeys, no questions, only present. A dream of being still, of being enough, of sitting beside something sacred and saying, I see you, and hearing back, and I see you, too. In certain corners of old Brittany, they whispered that weavers spoke to the moon, not aloud, not with voices, but through their work, and the moon, gentle and watchful, would speak back. In the way the cloth turned under the shuttle, in the dreams sent beneath closed eyelids, in the perfect catch of thread that never broke, no matter how fine. Etta never learned that tale from a book. She simply knew, and the moon knows her name. The loom remains quiet now. The new tapestry, begun just yesterday, rests with only its dawn-colored sky and lone bird. But it glows faintly in the moonlight. Not finished. Not waiting. Just being. And sometimes, that is all we're meant. To allow stillness to wrap around our edges and stitch us gently back to ourselves. The stars shift. Another seems to move, not in speed, but in patience. The horizon holds the faintest whisper of lavender now. The color of silence, the color of first breath before words. It touches the tops of the trees, brushes the edges of the hills, and seeps slowly into the dreams of those who are ready to rise. Not yet, but soon. Not with a start, not with a yawn. Her eyes simply open, and she is present. She breathes in slowly, and holds it, then releases it like a gentle ribbon floating into morning. Her gaze finds the loom. Then the small bowl beside her chair, still holding the last of her tea from the night before. She just watches the light begin to return. She stands and crosses to the window. Outside, the garden wears a soft veil of mist. The herbs glisten with dew. The soil looks rich and still dreaming. No birds yet. But soon, the kind of morning that arrives as if it doesn't want to wake you too fast. It taps gently on the glass, saying, only if you're ready, and Ida is ready, but only to be, not to do, not to finish, not to begin anything grand, only to witness the day arrive. She pulls her shawl around her shoulders. The wool is warm, smelling faintly of rosemary and wood smoke. And she steps outside, no shoes. Just bare feet against the cool stone, feeling the memory of night still resting there. She walks to the edge of her garden, where the tallest tree leans slightly eastward, the same one where moonflowers grow wild at the base. They are just beginning to close. A signal. Night has passed. But it left its blessing. Ida kneels, runs her fingers along the petals, whispers, "Thank you." Not for anything specific. Just because. Because the moon stayed. Because the tapestry grew. Because the dreams didn't vanish at waking. Because she is here. Alive. Present. Soft. The loom will wait. The story is not done. But you don't have to follow every word. Only drift through the warmth they carry. Like mist through the herb beds. Like moonlight through curtains. Like love through hands that spin. Close your eyes even deeper now. Let the hush take hold. Let every knot within you loosen. You are still in the cottage. Still wrapped in thread. Still part of this gentle world. Sleep now, as morning waits outside, and the weaver rests inside. The sun has not quite risen, but it's close. Just beyond the line of hills, gold begins to whisper through the lavender sky, turning the world from shadow to shape, from hush to heartbeat. Still, the cottage waits in softness. No footsteps, no voices. Only the sound of wind brushing past the stone walls, like a finger tracing a lullaby into memory. Inside, Ida returns to the loom. The house is still dim, lit only by the gentle promise of morning. She lights one beeswax candle. It flickers shyly at first, then steadies. Its glow catches on the wood, on the curve of the shuttle, on the threads waiting to become. She does not sit. Not yet. She stands before it, hands clasped in front of her, breathing in the scent of wax, wool, and something older than both. Hope, perhaps, or peace. Did you know? In certain hilltop chapels, old weavers would place a single finished thread on the altar, but to offer one, the thread itself was a prayer, not spoken, but made. Edda remembers. She lifts a single thread from her table, light blue, soft and fine, barely the width of a sigh, and lays it gently across the loom's edge, a silent offering. Not for anything at all, just because it feels right. The mist begins to lift from the garden now, revealing stone, root, blossom. The green beneath the dew. The moonflowers close. The birds begin. Soft first. One call, then another. A trill, a rustle, a reply. And the morning finally begins to speak, but still softly, as if it knows someone is still dreaming, barely heard. More a suggestion than a sound. It comes again, gently, from the edge of the path, not on the door, but from the gate. Ida smiles. not surprised. She walks through the garden, bare feet pressing into wet grass, and opens the wooden gate. A figure stands there, wrapped in a shawl, eyes soft with road dust and memory. They say nothing at first. Neither does she. There's no need. Some arrivals are quiet, like threads slipping back into the hand that spun them. The traveler returns, not the same one, but the same kind of soul, thread pulled, dream tugged, eyes bright with stories still unwoven. Edda opens the gate fully, steps aside. The traveler enters. The gate closes behind them with the gentlest sound, like the click of a shuttle through weft. Inside, the loom still waits. Mirth curls on the hearth again. He blinks once, then closes his eyes. The traveler takes the empty chair. Edda pours tea. They hold the warm cup with both hands, and for a long moment, neither speaks, not out of awkwardness, but because the silence is already full of invitation, full of welcome, full of knowing. The loom does not rush them. It never does. The threads wait. The shuttle rests. There is time. There is always time. Did you know? In some older traditions, stories were never truly finished. Even when told, they were left open, so that each listener could walk into them and make the last thread their own. But doors, not answers, but paths. The traveler understands, and soon they will begin. The sun rises now, a soft golden flood through the windows. The candle dims in its glow. The threads on the loom catch the new light, and shimmer as though smiling. The room feels alive again. Not louder, just fuller. Like something has returned that was always meant to come back. And you, sweet listener, you've come far. You've walked the quiet path, sat at the loom, listened to the hush between each thread. You've let the softness wrap you. You've let yourself be woven, and now you're ready to rest. Not because the story is over, but because it is part of you now. Close your eyes all the way. Let your hands go still. Let your breath. Let the quiet cradle you, like the curve of an old wooden loom. There is no more to hold tonight, only to float, only to soften, only to sleep. Somewhere, the weaver hums again. A note not meant for ears, but for dreams. And in that note, a promise. You are loved. You are remembered. You are safe. And always, you are part of the thread.